Technology.ie, we're at the Digital Media and Marketing Summit run by the Sunday Business Post held in Croke Park today. And I'm here with Jonathan Am and Paul O'Mahony from Change Agents in Cork. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great.
You guys created a bit of a stir this morning because you took to the stage and caused controversy. Paul, what were you doing?
Well, in a way, I would say that we came on to deliver a very gentle, benign message that wouldn't have stirred anybody in some context. But we actually went on and said to the room, we want you to stop doing what you're doing. We want you to stop producing more and more stuff. And what we want you to do is to attend to your brand. We want to bring everybody in the room back to the central core of why they're doing what they're doing.
What's wrong with what they're doing right now? Well, first of all, what are people doing that you object to?
People are being ferociously active, producing Facebook content, Twitter content, YouTube content, and a tiny number of them, and they're not producing enough of it, are producing Instagram content. But frankly, there is content all over the place, and we came here to ask people to stop and get back to the core of quality, which is their brand. That's what we came to do.
And what's the problem with producing so much content? Is it that the quality of it is poor? There's more content than people can interact with? What is it?
Well, you better ask Jonathan.
I will then.
I think so many brands are just creating more and more content, as Paul said, and a lot of that content is not relevant to readers or users. So what it's doing is it's just chucking information at people. It's assaulting our senses. We already have too much information, and I guess our point really kind of was to say to people, just stop. Start thinking about exactly what you want to do online and how you want to do it before you do it. Very simple, but obviously for whatever reason, slightly controversial.
Okay. But we're not just wanting people to stop for stop's sake, just stop producing stuff. We actually want them to do something instead.
Absolutely.
We actually want them to build businesses and the affection people have for businesses. We're actually trying to create a sort of love between a company and its consumers or its clients. It's actually all about how we can create a community that cares.
Because I think there's such focus on metrics, there's such focus on SEO, PPC, CPA. I mean, if you speak to an average client, I mean, they're dazed and confused with all these terms. So, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, technology and platforms are there for a reason, for a purpose, in order to be able to engage with people, get your message across, and get it across in a way that people can love what you do, tell others about it, admire you, trust you. And these are fundamental human principles. We're not dealing with demographics, we're dealing with human beings. And our view is that, people need to relate to people like people enjoy being related to.
It strikes me that a lot of digital marketing is suspiciously like old-fashioned marketing and old-fashioned media, in the sense that it's only going in one direction. People are talking but not listening. And we're forgetting about the defining characteristic of social media, which is that it is two-way. And are you suggesting perhaps that it's as important for brands to listen as it is for them to speak?
Absolutely. I think, if you want to get people interested in you, you've got to be interested in them. It's a fundamental, goes to the core of our human nature.
So give us have you got an example? Have you got a case in point?
Can I give you a concrete example, right? Let's imagine that I am very, very interested in a company, right? So I go to read its blog, right? I'm trying to get at the real heart of the company, right?
What's About Us page?
Okay, I go to the About Us page, right? But as soon as I go there, up in front of me pops this invitation to sign up for their newsletter, right? I wanted to actually read about the shoes that they sell. I wanted to read about why did they set up the company. Instead, I get slapped straight into my face a big thing that I have to delete, telling me, do you want to sign up for our newsletter? That is a tiny, tiny example of exactly what you're saying, Con. That whole idea that just because we are now publishers, we're a company with our own website, we got our own YouTube channel, we got our own audio channel, whatever. Just because we have that, we can behave as if we're superior to the old-fashioned advertisers who would put up exactly what they wanted on boards. At least the old-fashioned advertisers were expert at putting brilliant images up. We are getting a world now where people are putting awful stuff up so frequently, especially with all the right keywords, especially in which some inhuman animal called Google can find them and put them on the first page. And it is absolutely bizarre.
It's clickety-click barber trick all over again. I mean, it's like there's this obsession with clicking. And obviously we've got to get people to click, but we've got to get them to care first. You can't go for clicks. And I mean, that's what you said. I mean, this short-term thinking in terms of, tricking someone into clicking so that you can convert them, so you can make more money in this gold rush called the internet. I mean, it doesn't work like that.
I mean, it doesn't, but I imagine it must be also counterproductive because you're alienating people by
Absolutely.
striking the wrong tone, if you like.
Pushing them away from
Can I chip in something that I meant to say this morning and failed to say? Right? Very simple, right? Irish people are fantastic storytellers. Go to any pub in Dublin, in the west of Ireland, Kerry, Leitrim, Roscommon, I won't name all the counties, right, but the point is that Irish people are fabulous at storytelling, right? Why don't we use that same storytelling skills in our social media, on our digital space?
in business.
Why don't we use that? I mean, the basic thing when you're a storyteller is you start with where your audience is at. You think to yourself, what's on the mind of the people to whom I'm going to tell the story, right? And I'm certainly not going to walk into a dinner party telling a story about saying, guys, I've arrived. I have a 3-for-1 offer available for you next week, right? Before I even tell you who I am, right? I've got to, buy 5, get 20, right? No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to listen. I'm going to notice what you're interested in. I'm going to work from what you're interested in into my story. And a storyteller might say something like, once upon a time, I was just like you guys in the audience, right? I had no money. My house had been taken away, right? My family were in trouble, right? But let me tell you what I found as a way of getting out of it. And you have people. You're relevant. You're starting with where they're at. Why isn't that used by companies? Instead we are, let's hire an intern to do our Facebook page, give the poor old intern the job of simply get us more likes, get us more followers, right? And we'll pay you a fee for doing this every month. We have outsourced the entire humanity of our company to an agency who has nothing in mind other than metrics that are useless to everybody, including the company themselves.
So, Jonathan, what do you tell to companies? So, as an alternative to this kind of approach, what do you tell companies who want to use digital media to enhance their brand and build a relationship with their customers?
I mean, I think as you said, it's about relationship. I think the focus today was very much on path to purchase instead of journey to relationship. So I think our core focus when dealing with clients is how do you build that likability, how do you build that trust, how do you build that empathy, how do you build that rapport with your clients out there? I mean, that's the key thing. And obviously, I think analytics are critically important. You have to have a rigorous approach to analytics because often the analytics tell you behavior, but at the same time, as Paul's saying, you have to have clarity around your story. You need to understand your plot, you need to understand the characters, and these two things need to be integrated. I think so much time is being spent on people operating and thinking in silos that there's this rush to action, and that's why our focus was on stop.
I feel a lot of sympathy for the poor old digital marketers in organizations which are almost certainly not at the top table. They're hardly ever given an adequate briefing and understanding of the brand. I mean, for example, one of the points we made today was that if you have 6 company values, that's no good to you. You need 1. You need to stand for 1. Of course, we all have other values as well, right? But if you're going to operate in business, you operate out of one key big value, which suffuses everything. Everything online, every single tweet, every Facebook update, every this is all driven with the single value in mind. That's what you stand for. That's what differentiates you from your competition. That's what gives you competitive edge. Instead, people are diluting their focus, diluting their thrust, diluting their attractiveness, and confusing people. And frankly, it isn't good enough. And coming from Ireland, which has got huge strengths in how to tell a story properly, it's a bloody disgrace.